What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Paul Talks Patriots. I was off last week due to the election. Thought it would be a good time to get a break and go focus on our country, but not getting into the political talk. Reason I was out was because of that. So we have a lot to go over, and I'll focus mainly on this past week against the Bears, but quickly do want to touch on the Titans. Let's roll. Alright, so 2 weeks ago we had the Titans and took an overtime loss 20-17. Really tough, wanted to see a win there, thought we could have it, but honestly we didn't play all that well on offense. Drake May accounted for 95% of our total offense. If you haven't seen that stat, that is absurd, and that's not a winning formula right there. But it was promising in the fact that this 22-year-old quarterback can carry an NFL team. And a quarterback who doesn't have nearly as much experience as Caleb Williams, who we saw this past weekend, or Jaden Daniels, or Bo Nix, or Michael Penix. Albeit Penix hasn't played yet this year in a regular season game, but Drake May is making an argument for being the best quarterback in this rookie class so far. I would say it's Jaden Daniels still, but he's definitely playing better than Bo Nix and Caleb Williams, and I think that's not really up for debate anymore, especially after last week. Outside of Drake May's performance against the Titans, he didn't have anyone to throw to. He could hand it off to Ramondre, but the offensive line was terrible. Terrible at the run blocking. Ramondre finished with 10 carries for 16 yards, and I'm not going to blame Ramondre for that. I'm going to blame our offensive line. And in the pass game, who did Drake May have? Really just Hunter Henry, who's been all reliable for May this whole year and proved again against the Titans. The receivers really did not do that great. The defense looked better. There was improvement from everyone, but again, not enough to get the job done. Letting up 20 points in 5 quarters, or like 4.5 quarters, I guess, really isn't something you can complain about. But a player who I've been harsh on all year is Jelani Tavai. He stepped up, I thought, and proved again this past game against the Bears that he is improving along with the rest of the team. But that's enough of the Titans. Going into the Bears game, the Patriots added edge rusher Yannick Ngakoue. You might know his name just because of how rare that type of name is, how much it sticks out from the rest. But he is a 2016 third-round draft pick. He was drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars there, was a Pro Bowler in 2017, so he played against us in that AFC Championship before our last Super Bowl in 2019, and he was a problem back then. He's not as good as he used to be, but he is still just 29 years old, so depending on how he performs this year, you may see him here next year, the year after. He may be a long-term piece for us, maybe more than this year, at least I should say. But Gerard Mayo talked to the media about Yannick Ngakoue and his ability not only in the pass rush game, which he is known for, but also in the rush game. So he could be a 3-down player, and we could see a lot of him, and I think we should. Our edge rushing has been good, but it can improve, just like every other group on our team could use some improvement. So we'll see how he goes. But also, he fits our scheme pretty well. If you have noticed this year, Keon White will have plays where he drops back into pass coverage, which he should not be. I don't think he has the agility and speed to do that. I think he is really athletic, but moving forward towards the quarterback, not moving back and trying to cover. Ngakoue offers more ability to drop back into coverage, and he did so on the Ravens this year even, before he got cut and ended up in New England. So I think he's a good scheme fit for us and will contribute a lot this year for the rest of the season in our defense. And even especially this week, I think he could play a big role and make his presence known immediately. He's a proven leader, and I think it's a good addition to the team. He's a veteran. He's been a captain before in the NFL. Hopefully he's a voice for the young defense that we currently have. Outside of that, yes, we did win against the Bears, but guys, we're 3-7, and all of a sudden I'm hearing talks about path math to get to the playoffs. How are we going to do it? Get above that red line. Well, yeah, we are only 2 games back from a wild card spot, but let's be realistic here, people. We're not going to make the playoffs. We would need to win out, maybe lose 1 game and sneak in. I don't see it happening, and I really don't want to talk about it. Maybe if we beat the Rams this week, and teams above us in the wild card race lose, we could have a conversation. I don't think it's realistic, though, and frankly, I don't even care to make the playoffs this year. I just want to see improvement. I'm not rooting for losses anymore. I'm done with that, but I don't think it's realistic for us to make the playoffs. I just want to see improvement from our young players, which has been happening. And I want to get into that now, talking about the Bears. Well, the team as a whole looked better on Sunday, and that's including coaching and players. The players were screwing up less. They didn't look that great, but they weren't screwing up as bad. When I watched the film, it was kind of like if the defense screwed up, well, no one was solely responsible for like a 30-yard gain. A cornerback didn't screw up coverage, or a linebacker didn't leave a gaping hole in the middle of the field in the run game. It was more of a cohesive effort, whether good or bad. And you know what? Win together, lose together. Just be a team. I don't want to see complaining, and I didn't. I didn't see people on the Patriots throwing hissy fits like was happening earlier in the year. I saw a true team effort, which is great improvement, and I think is a testament to Gerard Mayo and what he's done so far this year. Now, with that being said, Robert Covington on the defensive side of the ball really made an interesting game plan, and kudos to him, because the defense only let up 3 points. You can't ask for anything more than that. And he came out with that new Longhorn package, which I'm sure you guys have heard of already, but that entails having 7 defensive backs on the field, along with what was Jelani Tavai and 3 defensive linemen. So on those, and with that package, Tavai was rushing just as much as he was dropping back into coverage, which I thought was interesting, but really what it did was take out your weaknesses, or your team's weakness in that linebacker group, and bring in a strength, which is your defensive back group. Which also begs the question, where the hell was this earlier in the season? I mean, if it works, and it worked great. But you're telling me Covington couldn't think of this earlier in the year? Maybe it doesn't work against every team. I think Covington broke it out because Caleb Williams is capable of scrambling a lot, and he wanted a spy out there to just solely focus in on Williams, and saw an opportunity to get to the quarterback because he likes to hold the ball. It was very evident against us. He likes to hold the ball and scramble, and I could go on a rant about what I saw from Caleb Williams this week, but that's besides the point, kind of. And I will say, just kudos to Covington, who, again, did use a dime package earlier this year, which is 6 defensive backs and having one linebacker and 4 D linemen. This one clearly worked better than that dime package Covington has used throughout the season. So hopefully we see more of this at some point. I don't think you'll really get that against Matthew Stafford and the Rams this weekend, considering Stafford is more of a pocket passer, and we don't really need 7 defensive backs out there. We need to focus on the run more and such, but I'll get into that later in this show. On the other side of the ball, Alex Van Pelt did better. Still not good. I think there was more flow to the offensive play calling this past game, but I just don't see how he really is too impressive of a play caller, I guess. Is he the worst in the league? Clearly not, because the Bears just fired Shane Waldron after his poor performance against us, which is great. But I still was not a fan of his play calling sometimes. I just think he had more thought behind what he was trying to do. I will say one play that stood out to me that just didn't make any sense was Drake May's interception. And I looked at the film and was really confused on why Austin Hooper was his only realistic option here. I'm going to show you. Take a look right here. That's Hunter Henry in motion. Austin Hooper at the bottom of the screen, come across the field. But look at who else. Who else is Drake May going to throw to here? There's no one. There is no one even close to the play. And I'm not going to say that Drake May should have thrown that past Austin Hooper, because he definitely shouldn't. He should have thrown it away. I think he was trying to force something there and play some hero ball, which, again, has been one of my issues with Drake May from college transferring over into the NFL. But Alex Van Pelt, bro, what are you doing? You're giving him one option to throw to. That didn't really make sense to me. At the end of the day, I think there was a little bit of improvement in his play calling, but we also only scored 19 points. So how can you be too happy about that? It's getting there, and I'll give him the respect for Drake May's development. It's been talked about a little bit in media that this is going to earn him another year with the Patriots. As much as I would like to see Brian Daboll get canned in New York and come be our offensive coordinator here, I think it's going to be Alex Van Pelt in 2025, and at least give another chance to keep developing Drake May. And you need continuity. That's what screwed up Mac Jones, is the difference in the coaching staff, and hopefully we have, as an organization, learned that you need continuity. And I think Alex Van Pelt has been the reason Drake May has succeeded so far. Him and our quarterback coach, T.C. McCartney. I just think Alex Van Pelt has earned another year. Unless this all hits the fan and stuff goes south, you're going to see Alex Van Pelt here next year. And you know what? If Drake May keeps improving, then that's fine. But some things on offense that just really didn't make sense to me. This is kind of an overall year thing. But Antonio Gibson didn't play that much against the Bears, but he did get 5 yards for 26 carries. That's over 5 yards a carry. Really good by him. And this is only after getting 1 carry last week. And I think he needs to be on the field more. JaMycal Hasty has been stealing his reps, and I just am not that impressed with JaMycal Hasty's performance, to be honest with you. I think he can be a good third down back as a worst case scenario. And you get more talent from Antonio Gibson. I think Gibson's a better runner and a better pass catcher than JaMycal Hasty. So I don't understand Hasty being out there. Yeah, it was cool to see him score a touchdown against the Jaguars, his former team, but that's it. Like, Hasty is good as a RB3, and Antonio Gibson needs to be on the field more. And this might be a little bit of a hot take, but I mean, I think the stats are there to prove it if you were to look it up. But given the eye test, it seems like Antonio Gibson performs better in the outside zone running than Ramondre Stevenson even. Now, I don't want Antonio Gibson to play over Ramondre, obviously, but Gibson needs to be on the field more. And so the fact that he's only gotten 6 carries the last 2 weeks is a concern to me. I think it's time to move away from Hasty. He gave him a chance. Get Gibson out there. He's better in almost every aspect than JaMycal Hasty. Don't waste snaps on Hasty. And also, he is younger than Ramondre Stevenson. You went with the whole youth group movement last week. That was the report. Well, he's younger than Stevenson, and both of them are younger than Hasty, who is 28. So let's see Gibson get involved, see what he has to offer in a more expanded role. Now, to continue with that youth movement thing, you saw Kendrick Bourne get benched, didn't play a single snap. And yeah, sure, you want to play all the young kids, go for it. But why was KJ Osborne playing over Kendrick Bourne? They basically play the same style. And while KJ Osborne is a leader, I think Kendrick Bourne is more of a leader and needs to be out there with the younger fellas. And besides that, I think the talent is maybe equal, if not better or higher, for Bourne, and his output has been better this year. In 7 games that Osborne has played, he's gotten targeted 18 times. He has 7 receptions, 57 yards, and 1 touchdown. In the 5 games that Bourne has played, he's been targeted 14 times. He's got 8 catches for 70 yards. Didn't get into the end zone yet. But as far as making the most of your targets, Bourne has been doing really well. He's got more yards. He's got more catches on less targets. Last week, he had 4 catches for 41 yards. And yes, it looked like he may have screwed up a route or 2, and he tripped on 2 routes. But he's still getting he's outputting more production than KJ Osborne when he's on the field. So that to me is like, I don't understand that decision. Also, last thing about the game I wanted to talk about was the 9 sacks we got. That is phenomenal, and our best performance all year by far as sacks goes. But I thought we had the worst offensive line. The Bears are in horrendous shape. At one point, they were down to 6 linemen that were active because one of them got injured mid-game. And so the talent may be there, but a lot of it's on the injured list for them. So yes, 9 sacks is awesome. That's not luck, but also we were probably going against one of the worst, if not the worst, offensive lines in the league. Anyway, we got to win. That's all that matters at the end of the day. It pushed us back to 7th in the draft, I believe. And I don't care, honestly. I want wins. I want to see us win. And I think there's another chance for a big win against the Rams next week, which we're going to talk about after this commercial break.
Malo is my French bulldog. He made my heart bigger when he came in my life. He never really liked his food. He wouldn't eat till like 10 o'clock at night. To me, it was saying, oh, I guess I don't want to starve. He was having skin breakouts, and putting the 2 and 2 together, what you put into your body is what you get out. I know that if I'm eating a bunch of processed food, I'm not going to feel good. So that kind of led me to Farmer's Dog. Immediately, his skin issues went away. I love what they're doing. It's already portioned out. He's eating whole foods. It's amazing.
On the College Football Dogs website, you'll find a main page that features some of our biggest and newest stories. Our conference pages for content related to your favorite team's conference. Our team store, where we have products that are available all year long, as well as gear available for a limited time only. Our podcast page, where you can see when one of the 12 plus College Football Dogs podcasts is streaming live on social media. Our subscription page, where you can join our Discord. If you're interested in becoming a contributor at College Football Dogs, email us at info@collegefootballdogs.com. If you enjoy any College Football Dogs content, we really do appreciate any donations you can make by visiting the donate page on our website or scanning the QR code here.
College Football Dogs, for the fans.
All right, welcome back to Paul Talks Patriots. Yes, so as it currently stands, the Patriots are 3-7 with a tough matchup coming this week at home in the Los Angeles Rams. So what's the Rams' deal this year? Well, they just played on Monday Night Football and lost to the Miami Dolphins. So they are coming off a short week, and after a game that moved them to 4-5. Now, you guys know the Miami Dolphins are not that good this year. However, they have been without Tua Tagovailoa, and he's finally back. They are a better team than their record shows, but still not a playoff contender this year, and the Rams just lost to them. The Rams had high expectations this year and have better talent than their 4-5 record shows. But people are making a deal out of the short week. Well, that's not really going to affect their performance too much, in my opinion, strictly because, to be blunt, we don't have that many intricate concepts, and we don't have that many playmakers to worry about on either side of the ball. You got to worry about Christian Gonzalez, and you got to worry about Drake May. And I would love to say Ramondre Stevenson, but he hasn't been able to do much behind our really bad offensive line. So I'm not really worried about that. Another factor that may play into the Rams not performing as well to a lot of people, but not in my opinion, is the fact that they need to travel across the country to play us. They played Miami at home, but they now have to travel, obviously, to Foxborough. But it really hasn't been a factor that much this year. In fact, teams are having a lot of success traveling from the West Coast to the East Coast. Teams traveling over 2,400 miles from the West Coast to the East Coast this year are combined 4-1. And that includes the Seahawks win over the Patriots earlier this year. And I don't think it's going to affect the Rams too much, especially with Matthew Stafford leading the charge, who has been around for a while, and he's a veteran, a seasoned veteran. I don't think that's going to affect them too much. But I will say, they haven't really had to do a crazy travel to anywhere. They traveled to Detroit in week 1, which was a 26-20 loss, but against a team that's looking like they may win the Super Bowl this year. You know, that's not bad. It's not like the travel impacted them too much, it seems like, in that game. So that's not going to be too much a factor. But what about their roster? Well, the Rams' offensive line, I would like to start there because it looks really vulnerable right now. The Dolphins got 4 sacks and 7 tackles for loss, and the Miami is third to last in sacks after that performance. So they haven't been able to produce much of a pass rush at all this year, and they were able to perform well against the Los Angeles Rams. However, the Rams did just get back left guard Jonah Jackson, who they just signed to a big contract in the offseason and who was a Pro Bowler with the Detroit Lions before going over to the Rams. And they also got back second-year center Steve Avila, who was a second-round draft pick last year and started at center last year for the Rams and proved to be a legit offensive lineman. Now, the two did not perform too well against the Miami Dolphins, but you got to give them some time to readjust to playing again after spending time on the injured reserve. So we'll see if they can get back to normal or if this could be another big week for the Patriots pass rush. And I'm liking our odds, honestly, but it won't be nearly as bad of an offensive line as we saw last week in Chicago. That was horrendous. Probably won't see anything that bad the rest of the year. Anyway, who else do the Rams have? Well, they have weapons on weapons on weapons. They have Kyren Williams and Blake Corum in the backfield at running back. Blake Corum was a stud at Michigan, drafted in the 3rd round in 2024, and hasn't done much as a rookie this year, but still has talent. Kyren Williams, on the other hand, who is their starting running back, is one of the best running backs in the NFL, in a league in which there is a lot of talent at the running back position. Kyren Williams has proven to be top tier. So definitely a guy you have to worry about, especially if Jonah Jackson and Steve Avila can get their act together and prove how they should and did in last year. Kyren Williams could cause a lot of problems for our defense running up the middle. On top of that, though, the Rams also at wide receiver have Puka Nacua. They have Cooper Kupp. And they have Demarcus Robinson. They are 6th in pass yards per game at 251.3 yards per game. And you guys know Nacua, you guys know Kupp, both all Pro Bowl caliber players. And in my opinion, I like Demarcus Robinson a lot. He stepped up in the absence of both Nacua and Kupp and proved to be a good deep threat. So him as a wide receiver 3 is very good. The Rams have one of the best wide receiver trios in the whole NFL. And of course, all led by Matthew Stafford, who is probably going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Unreal talent and still underrated, I think, has never been regarded as high as he should have been throughout his whole career. But they have a lot of talent there by their skilled player positions. So how do you combat this? Well, our pass rush, like I said, needs to be just as dominant as it was last week. And hopefully that addition of Yannick Ngakoue can contribute to that. But Anthony Jennings and Dietrich Wise Jr. are both coming off a 2-sack game and after the Chicago Bears. Hopefully they can keep it up. I trust them to do so. And the interior line is more of a question mark getting to the quarterback. I don't know. Again, Jonah Jackson and Steve Avila are going to play a big factor in how this game goes. If you can get pressure on them, then we will be looking really good. On the defensive side of the ball, the Rams rank 22nd in pass defense, and their cornerbacks are really hit or miss. They have Darius Williams, who's 31, and seems like his best days are far behind him. And this is where we need to attack. Whoever is getting guarded by Darius Williams needs to get the ball thrown their way. He is a boundary cornerback, which means Kayshon Boutte will probably be again going against Williams for a lot of the game, if not Jalen Polk or whoever is playing between Osborne or Bourne. Maybe you'll see more of Javon Baker this week. Who the hell knows with that guy? But whenever Kayshon Boutte is lined up against Darius Williams, the ball needs to go that way. I think we can expose the crap out of him. Drake May to Kayshon Boutte, I could see it happening a lot this week. But outside of Williams, they have Josh Wallace, who was a 2024 undrafted free agent, but has been playing pretty good this year. He may be a diamond in the rough, but I haven't seen him play too much. I don't really know his deal. And I looked at his stats. He's not getting targeted that much. And when he is getting targeted, he's not letting up crazy plays. So whether that is due to him being a lockdown cornerback or the other teams not having that good of a receiver going against him, well, that's up for conversation. But this guy doesn't seem elite yet, but seems like he's a pretty good starter in the NFL. So we'll see how that goes. Outside of them two, Kobe Durant is their nickelback, and he's had an up and down season so far. Lots of good performances, lots of bad performances. If he goes against Demario Douglas, I always will take Pop Douglas. And on one-on-one, he's our best man coverage beater and will perform well against Kobe Durant, I think. As far as the Rams safeties goes, well, they really have a trio of rotating players for free safety and strong safety in Quentin Lake, Cameron Curl, and Cameron Kitchens. All pretty good players and players you have to respect going against. Cameron Curl is their leading tackler, so he plays up in the box more often than dropping back deep into coverage, whereas Lake and Kitchens are more coverage corners. But guys you have to respect, guys that play decent in both the run and pass games, tough group. Now, what's really concerning me this week is their pass rush. And boy, is it young and very talented. They have Jared Verse. If you haven't heard the name before, get to learn it because he is going to be getting in the backfield a lot this week. Most likely, he is the front runner for Defensive Rookie of the Year this year. He was a first-round pick for the Rams. He's got a 20.4% pressure rate. That's third highest in the NFL. Not amongst rookies, amongst everyone in the NFL. The kid is really good. He's got 4.5 sacks already. And he's only going to get better on a week-to-week basis. So you look at the sack number, it's not crazy. But you look at that 20.4% pressure rate, really impressive. Excuse me. And he is going against Vidarian Lowe most likely for most of the game. So we'll see how that one goes. But they also have Braden Fisk, interior defensive tackle, who they drafted in the second round. They actually moved up in the draft to get Fisk, and he has also been stellar for them this year. He's got 26 pressures. That is third highest by a rookie, with Verse being first, and then Leatu Latu on the Colts being second. And again, as a defensive tackle, that is really impressive. Obviously, Verse, who I just mentioned, is an edge, and Latu on the Colts is also an edge. So, a lot of talent on the interior for pass rushing as well. And then you have Byron Young and Kobe Turner. Young is 25th in pressures, and Kobe Turner is 31st in pressures this year. Those kids are only in their second season in the NFL. So, lots of young but very talented players coming at you. So it's going to be tough for our offensive line in the pass blocking situation. But you've seen Drake May scramble a lot this year. We'll see how that goes. As far as the Rams' rush defense, they rank 19th. So not the best, but statistically better in the rankings than their pass defense, which is surprising to me. But two things I wanted to point out is they're not terrible, they're not really good, but the Raiders in week 6 put up 122 rush yards against the Rams. The Raiders have the worst rush yards per game average in the NFL. Another team, who we just saw last week in the Bears, put up 119 yards rushing against the Rams. And their matchup earlier this year in week 4. They also have a worse rush game than you as far as a rush yards per game basis. So we'll see if Stevenson can get going. I think a lot of that has to do with the immaturity on the Rams' front seven, contributing to that lack of rush defense. If you look, I'm not really sure how the Rams rank 22nd in pass defense. It seems like they're just opponents' offenses are targeting a couple players and exposing them, and that's leading to success in the pass game. But we need to do the same thing, and that's on Alex Van Pelt. So another game schematically where we are going to have to see great performances from Alex Van Pelt and DeMarcus Covington because of how many weapons the Rams have. I think we're going to put up a decent amount of points, similar to last week. Ultimately, I do think we lose this one again. It's just tough for me to gamble on us winning. I think the Rams beat the Patriots 24-20 in this one, but we will see a lot of scrambling from Drake May, similar to the Titans game. And another thing, a more bolder prediction, I think Jalen Polk, after his touchdown catch last week, is going to turn things around against this hit-or-miss secondary and have a really good game. I can't say great, but I can say my prediction is he'll have a really good game. We're talking 4 more catches for 50-plus yards. So a true factor in the passing game. And again, we'll see a promising performance hopefully from him and Drake May. And it'll look great for 2025. As far as this one goes, it's another loss though. And we're just looking for improvement, guys. I will have live tweets during the game if you follow me on X, formerly Twitter, at Paul Talks Pats. But until then, if you don't follow me, I will be back here next week on Tuesday. Please like, comment, and subscribe or follow if you're seeing this on Facebook. And let me know what you guys think about the Patriots, how we fare going into this game. Until next time, guys, I will catch you. See ya.